Good morning, everyone. End of November, end of a long weekend, U.S. Thanksgiving and Black Friday, all the sales, no sales, all the shopping. How's it going, Austin? You're celebrating the end of Movember, as
yes,
we can see.
I had to break out the mustache for at least one show. Had to let it live in all its glory for a little bit before it goes away on Wednesday.
It's absolutely majestic. It truly is.
Oh, I appreciate it.
So today, just a quick, we're going to talk about the Black Friday thing and some of the kind of inflation, that type of stuff. But let's get some news out first. One of the things I just want to kind of touch on is Guanajuato Silver, which is a company we've had on the show. We like, they're actually producing mine. The story that these guys have put together in such a short period of time. It's such a great story. Stock is it's doing great. It's good management, and they're doing the right thing by hiring locals, and it's like an ESG story as well. Focused on silver. They've been hitting all of their milestones. Really impressed by them. We don't work with them like that, but I've been friends of James for a long time, and we're really impressed by what they're doing. And we like to have like different stage companies as well. Like, as much as we like the Goliath stories, which are new discoveries that have huge potential, but we're waiting on assays. This is a story where they're actually mining. And people joke in the mining world, it's like half of the companies, or actually a lot more than that, are out there, exploring, discovering, trying to find an asset, hoping to find something that could be economic to eventually be made into something. Whereas sometimes you get these companies, and Guanajuato Silver is one of them. Trigon is another one that they've been able to get to actual mining, to grow an actual mining business, to have some revenue, but also they have that blue sky opportunity and potential of building out a resource from something they already have. So, it's a renovation story, and they've been able to do it in a hurry, which is also pretty impressive in any kind of business, but certainly for mining. So we always like to give out a shout to Guanajuato Silver, and really appreciate all the hard work that they do there. And today we see that they've expanded a private placement because they were able to to sell some of their concentrate. They've just been hitting it out of the park. So lots of work going on out there. We'll send you the news release or check it out online. But just wanted to let you know that was on our radar, and we appreciate the hard work that they do. And before maybe we jump into QU, Austin, because I just mentioned Trigon, is that another story in Namibia, and we like Namibia because of graphite and atomic, which is out there. But Trigon, as you know, is a copper play. We're in desperate need of copper for this green and 5G future. So they've added another person onto their board. And once again, sometimes people kind of brush off these things and think, so what? That's not really huge news. But it is, because once again, this is a company that is actually producing. They're mining. So they're going to have revenues. They're selling material. And you need to bring on another type of experience and expertise to that. So this is a great move by them to add on Mr. Oliver, who brings 25 years of resource experience. So he's been a lead at Equus Energy Advisors, a number of other companies in Calgary, as also president and CEO of United Hydrocarbon International. He brings a ton of experience, and it's important to have this for a company that is not only, once again, they've got a huge blue sky potential if they continue developing the resource they already have and expanding the operations, but they're going to have revenue. And that's pretty unique to have a penny stock in a junior market that we're going into a world that needs these products. They need silver, they need copper. And it's excellent to see companies that are not only maybe going to have resource, are actually mining. So big shout out to Trigon as well.
Yeah, great addition for Trigon. And Mr. Olivier is actually very well known in kind of the Calgary resource area. Lots of people will be familiar with that name if they kind of follow natural resources in Calgary. And he's done some great stuff in Namibia in the past as well. So that's really encouraging to see. They're just strengthening, building up that board, and continuing to expand out.
Cool. So give us the lowdown on QU.
Yeah, so a little update from QU Media would have come out this morning. Revenue increases year over year 10 times from just under 400,000 to 4.7 million, which is great to see. They're going to be thrilled that they're in that position. They're continuing strong revenue growth. They're continuing to invest in the actual growth side of the business, continuing to branch out, expand their programs, expand their deals that they're involved with as far as advertising, as well as their channels, where their channels are being broadcast, what kind of shows they're putting on their channels. Really great to kind of just see it, an increased amount of revenue for them. That's what people have been waiting for, trying to pay attention to, seeing that growth. I know they've updated revenue guidance in the past, but it's good to see those actual hard numbers rolling in. They're going to be one of the leading brands in India. We know that. We know that this is the right team building up that story. So this is just them continuing to check those boxes and roll in the right direction.
Excellent. Yeah. So sorry I just lost connection there for a minute. So I apologize to everyone. It happens, technical glitches. But yeah, so excellent work from QU. And that's encouraging. I mean, I don't think the stock is moving all that much, which is a little disappointing, but I think there's other issues they have to deal with. But to see that growth, sure, it's a huge percentage, and we can just kind of say, okay, it's going from a small number to a decent number, but that is impressive because what it's showing is that it's working. The model they have is working, and no one expects it to grow at that rate, continue on forward, but it's going to grow. And they have relationships with all these majors. They've shown that the model's working month after month after month, quarter after quarter. And I think the more that they show that, the market's is really going to start to react to it. Of course, the issue with it is that there's a lot of shares out. So some people would have issues with that. So we'll see what comes out over the capital structure. But this is, if you want to see revenue, this is it. And listen, it's tax loss selling in Canada. Not to use that as an excuse for stocks, but if you're down a bit, a lot of people just go, listen, if I'm down on a stock, I'll take the loss on paper. And I don't know what the rules are, so don't take this as an advice to anyone. I'm not licensed in any way, but a lot of people will take a loss on paper and they can just buy back in. There's a time frame where when you can buy in. I don't know if it's 30 days or 2 months. Check with your advisor, check with your accountant, check with your licensed professional. But those are strategies that people will use if they have something that's down and you're in December, you're coming in December. Sometimes they'll just say, listen, I'll just take the loss on paper and I intend on buying it back. And that happens. And so sometimes when a stock is down a little bit, it can get further kicked down a bit. So for a new person looking at it, and right now, I mean, let's say Desert Mountain is down. For someone new looking at that, it's a huge opportunity to be able to get into a stock that we see as having massive potential. But I also I'm not taking anything away from anyone who had bought, say, Desert Mountain at $4, that there's a bit of pain right now. 100%. I get it. It's uncomfortable to be down, but we are such, the stocks that we cover and that we like and that we put into our newsletter that we own, we're not selling. So that's just, these are the ones we like for long term. We don't trade. So I don't, unless there's news that's of massive proportions about the function of the business or the management or the project that's negative, we're not exiting any of these companies. As if they're hitting milestones and doing the right thing, then the price, if it's down, is an opportunity for us to buy more, because we're in it for building businesses and companies and teams and projects. We're not in it just to flip. That's not what we do. Other people do that. Other newsletter writers do that. They have all sorts of models. Go nuts. Have fun. There's tons of them that work. Ours just happens to be not that.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. I had some conversations with people over the weekend as well, talking about how the market looked on Friday, and I just said, hey, it's Black Friday. Everything's on sale. If you want to pick up some more, some stuff that you like, it's out there at a discounted price. That was the case right across the market, and it might continue in through the start of this week as well, although we are starting to see markets across the board bounce back nicely, which is good. But a little Black Friday sale never hurt anybody.
Yeah, and I mean, there's, it's in the past, it's been typically a huge retail sales event. Lots of shopping. That's been down a lot, and there was lots more disposable income for people to spend. And part of me likes the fact that they didn't go out and waste it on retail goods. I mean, not only is inflation, I mean, the posted inflation in the US was 6% last month. That's what they're admitting. We know that it's much, much higher. We also, at this point, know it's not transitory. And the unfortunate thing with everything nowadays is that, you have the current government saying it's transitory, and then, oh, well, it's not a big deal. It's actually a positive. And it's like, listen, you don't need to make everything an attack or everything about politics, and you have to spin it. Just admit truth, and it's not anyone's fault. It's the situation you're in, and then remedy it and talk about the solution. And the more that they back themselves in and just keep on saying the most bizarre things, it adds a lot more fear and concern. And that would go on for this Omicron thing that they tried to push very fast and hard. But the reports out of South Africa is this is a very mild flu, basically. But they're going to spin it as hard as they can, that the potential, but it might be this. And I like to reiterate to anyone, if you're talking about science, if you're talking about data, fact, once you hear the words maybe, could, might, should, possibly, then we're not talking about science. You're talking about just political science. Those are not terms that are used. If they've got an actual percentage or data that what it does, and this is the thing we have to be very cognizant of today, whether you're talking about markets or any other information, is the definite and specific use of words, and they matter. So whenever you hear things like, this might be this and that, it's like, well, we might be hit by an asteroid tomorrow. It's just, it's possible, entirely possible. And if I live my life on the fear of that 0.0000001%, it would be a very, very chilling and frightful time for me. It's understanding the probabilities of outcomes happening. But anyways, I digress. What else is happening?
I try not to worry about asteroids. I just assume Elon and the boys will have that sorted out whenever the time comes. If we're going to be hit by one, they'll go up and blow it up for us or something. So, but a couple interesting stories to follow surrounding Black Friday. One is going to be, just because this kind of stood out to me as an interesting figure. Do you have any guess how much online retailers in the United States will generate in profit simply just today, Cyber Monday? Any guess what that number might look like?
Oh, no, but I mean, this would be in the past, it always has been extremely significant, even with the sales.
Yeah.
But what I didn't look to see what the actual numbers are. What are they?
$11.3 billion just today. I mean, that's crazy. With retailers going to spread out deals, obviously, across a variety of sectors, but online sales today, this is actually a little bit down from where it was last year, but the market for online sales is just crazy. And you might actually see this, not necessarily this year, but I'd say within the next 5 years, where Cyber Monday sales might actually surpass what you do for business and revenue on Black Friday.
Oh, I can see that for sure. I mean, it's I'm of a weird generation where I haven't adopted that as much. I like, especially if I'm going to go buy anything, it's usually like a retail thing, like it's a shirt. Mm-hmm. It's very unlikely I'm going to buy it online because I get worried that's not the right size, unless I know the exact style, exact brand, it's the exact shirt, and it's from, I know for sure. And then I see it online and it's on sale. Oh, okay. But I'm of that old school where it's like, I like to go into the store and try things on. I don't know. Younger people may not. They may think, no, if I can just order online, it just gets here. That's it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you're going to see it will eventually, surpass it by far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's just an interesting thing to see how so much of the economy and how it works is switching to this online tech data kind of style of thing. And, in an interesting kind of sidebar related to that, I don't know if you saw this as well, but Jack Dorsey is stepping down as the CEO of Twitter this morning.
Yeah, that's great news.
Could have an interesting impact. Very great news. Although, who knows what direction Twitter will go?
No, it's going to be the same direction. So, I mean, I kind of laugh. I mean, I'm no fan of him, but I mean, this FANG or Alphabet companies, they're not going to change their censorship idea. They're total authoritarian. They're like, and I don't have any qualms about saying it. They serve one point and a couple. They gather data on people and they are desperate to control narrative. It doesn't matter who you put in there. They're not going to change. That's their whole point. That's their business model. So whether or not Jack Dorsey's there, that poor guy, we'll leave it alone. It has no relevance. Often these people like to make it that it's one person is making decisions and causing something to happen. And it's almost never the case. It's just a talking head. And is the same for often a president of a country. They tried to make it seem like Trump was all this terrible thing. It's like, no, it's almost nothing to do with Trump. And just the same as Biden. There's an underlying agenda that it almost doesn't matter who you flop into that presidency role. There's an underlying issue, and generally it's not wonderful, but it's just whether or not you're going to play ball or not. And corporations are no different, and we see that it's heading that direction. And those two are interchangeable now as well. I mean, you're seeing that government and corporations are kind of meaning the same thing for the most part, and they not only collude, they work together in order to get a messaging out, to get whatever out, in order to win the people over to whatever side or cause that they're looking for.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. It's just an interesting tidbit of news as well that you should see reflect around the market. So
very interesting. Now, Jess had a question here. Can you elaborate on the issues you were talking about? And that was at 9:07. Sorry, I missed that. So it was about 10 minutes ago. So what issues are we? I'm wondering if we was mentioning QU. Maybe we'll see if Jess sends us another quick message if what issues. I think it was when we were talking about QU. And to me, I'll assume it is until we see if he has a response. To me, the only issues are that there's tons of shares out. Now, let me pull out. I think there's 300 million shares out of QU.
Yeah, it might be 300, it might even be 350 million.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm just bear with me here. I'm just pulling up to see how much out is right now. Market cap is 115 million at 28 cents. So yeah, you're going to be looking at around that. So sorry, guys. Yeah, somewhere around 300 million. Oh, yeah, but more about QU. So yeah, so having that many shares out, it often will disturb people because it's just too much floating out there and too much able to trade. And at 28 cents, someone says, I want to drop 50,000 shares. It makes a difference trying to move the stock. Now, I know that he was on the show when they were kind of throwing around ideas of what can be done. And we'll reach out to Kurt to see what's happening. I know there's been lots of discussions on Reddit and whatnot. We don't know, what the next steps are. I'm sure everything's on the table. I would imagine there'd be everything from, since things are rosy, as far as the revenue coming in, the milestones, the teams, the shows are a big success. The trajectory of the company is looking very good. It's just, you've got a lot of stock out. So what they can do is, in theory, is do a rollback, which is fine, because once you have the revenue and you do a rollback, isn't as much of a problem than if you don't have revenue. Often, if a mining company does a rollback, although it's equal, it's the same market cap, people tend to panic a bit and they just sell. They go, oh, just let me out. But we'll do a thing on rollbacks, maybe, because it's a bit longer a conversation, especially for generalist people. But that would be a solution, because they have revenue and also growing revenue, that it would be a solution that could work for sure for QU. We don't know if that's going to happen, have no idea, but it would certainly, I would imagine, be on the board of discussion. And they would be also, I think at some point, would be wanting to get on a NASDAQ on U.S. listings to attract more U.S. investors. So that, I'm sure, is being discussed too. But those are the only concerns that I can see. I mean, generally, you want to see, are you hitting milestones? Yes. Is the revenue increasing? Yes. Now, it's dramatically increasing, which is great. But I suspect it's still going to increase. You don't expect it to increase 10 times every quarter, but it's going to continue increasing. And the more they do that, it's going to give a lot of confidence. And also, I mean, just generally, I mean, some people might be looking at their portfolio and thinking, it's pretty uncertain out there. What's happening? What's going on? Do I want to own an Indian media company? Yeah. And for a lot of people, it might be, no, not right now. Whereas I'd say, yeah, I would rather own that at 28 cents than own Tesla. And no harm against Tesla. But, it's already up here. I'd rather be owning something that has the upside potential that's massive, rather than maybe making 5 or 6 or 7 or 8% on a company that's already topped out. So that's just my 2 cents there.
Well, no, and you made a great point as well by saying you want to do this when you come from a position of already having generated that revenue and having seen that revenue growth. It makes it easier, whatever their approach is going to be, having that already like behind them rather than, okay, we think we're going to get here, it makes it easier to make whatever decision and attack it however they're going to. I know you wanted to quickly update on the Silver Hammer news as well.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Yes.
Yes.
So Silver Hammer had some news as well. And let me just reiterate, too, that I don't know anything about QU. I'm just throwing out ideas. So don't take this as meaning anything other than just throwing out some of things that I can see. But let's just jump in with Silver Hammer because we love Silver Hammer, another silver company that has been doing great work here. They've put out a news release today talking about their sampling, mapping, and some of their hyperspectral satellite imaging programs that have been done at the Silverton project, and that's about 129 kilometers east or northeast of the Tonopah Silver District in Nevada. So, they did about 35 rock chip samples, 111 soil samples, got some great results, great returns. This is good news. It's all positive indicators. Certainly, they're very excited by that. It's a good, once again, indicator of things being there. But to be perfectly honest, we don't put too much into a lot of that. Those are simply indicators. It's good to have them, but really at the end of the day, it's the truth machine, which is the actual drilling and the assays. But all of this is data for them, for the geos and all the scientists and the team to look at and go, we've got some good soil samples. We've got some anomalies here. There's some chips from jutting out. All of this helps them to determine what targets to even consider. So this is great news for them. And often we see some on soil samples and chips, like giant numbers. You got to kind of, it's not a smoke screen. It's a leading indicator to say, yes, you're onto a zone. There is something possible worth looking at here. And then it's a matter of drilling. So you can have these huge anomalies and you're drilling into them to try to find where the resources are. But it's definitely positive. It's definitely good. They're excited about it. And hey, they're hitting their own milestones on their own as well. So it's looking good.
Yeah, it's looking great for them. I know Morgan and the team are really excited about it. They can see this as kind of indications of two separate mineralized precious metal systems there, which is really encouraging as well. And like you said, it helps them lay out their drill targets for what they'll be going after in 2022.
Good. Awesome. Well, you know what? I'm losing a bit more of my connection here today, so maybe we should cut it short here.
Yep.
It was a real pleasure, Austin. It was great. And we'll chat with you real soon. Everyone, have a happy Monday.
Always great. Take care, guys. Cheers.